Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We are from Group 2 and we're going to present our short video about muscle. There are three types of muscle. The first one we have cardiac muscle, then we have skeletal muscle, the last one we have smooth muscle. Cardiac muscle is the muscle specific to the heart. Skeletal muscle, specialized tissue that is attached to the bones and allows movement. Then, smooth muscle is arranged in layered sheet that is contract and waves along the length of the structure. When we run, our bodies move with the help of skeletal muscle attached to the skeleton. Skeletal muscle are under our conscious control, which is why they are also known as voluntary muscle.
The movements your muscle makes are coordinated and controlled by your brain and the nervous system. The involuntary muscles are controlled by a structure deep in the brain in the upper part of the spinal cord called the brainstem and voluntarily regulated by a cerebral motor cortex and the cerebellum. When you decide to move, the motor cortex sends electrical signal to the spinal cord and peripheral nerves to the muscles, causing the muscles to contract. The motor cortex on the right side of the brain controls the muscles on the left side of the body and vice versa.
The cerebellum coordinates the muscles movement commanded by the motor cortex. Sensors in the muscles and joints send the messages back through the peripheral nerves to tell the cerebellum and other parts of the brain where and how the arm or leg moves and its position. This feedback results in a smooth and coordinated movement. If you want to raise your arm, your brain sends a message to the muscles in your arm and you move it. When you run, messages to the brain are more involved because many muscles have to work rhythmically.
Muscle is a tissue that can contract for a certain amount of time. This contraction process causes body parts to move. Without muscles, bones and joints in the body don't have the strength to move. Every time there is a movement in the body, the movement occurs because of the work of the muscles. Is muscle contraction need energy? The answer is yes. Muscle contraction is an interaction between actin and myosin that requires energy in the form of ATP and creatine phosphate. The breakdown of ATP and creatine phosphate during muscle contraction occurs when anaerobic phase. When the two compounds decompose, a certain amount of energy will release which is used for muscle contraction. Muscle fibers have three ways to produce ATP. The first one is ATP from creatine phosphate. The second one is ATP from anaerobic glycolysis. And the third one is ATP from aerobic respiration. Here's the scheme of production of ATP for muscle contraction. The first one is ATP from creatine phosphate. Creatine phosphate can rapidly donate a phosphate group to ADP to form ATP and creatine under an aerobic condition while the muscle is relaxed. The duration of energy provides 15 seconds. The second one is ATP from anaerobic glycolysis. The breakdown of muscle glycogen into glucose and production of pyruvic acid from glucose via glycolysis produce both ATP and lactic acid, which cause muscle fatigue. The third one is ATP from aerobic respiration. Pyruvic acid, fatty acid, and amino acid are used to produce ATP via aerobic respiration. Mitochondria in muscle fibers can convert pyruvate into ATP in the presence of oxygen via the Krebs cycle.
Terima kasih. Hatur nuhun.
Matur suwun.
Thank you so much. Shukran.